Week 4 is officially underway. It is Friday evening. I am Sweetcar. I got Shishot and Shovit with me. This is the only playbook. How are we doing, guys?
Dude, I am doing so good. You have no idea. Doing just fantastic. Life is great.
Tell us why.
Oh, nothing, man. Just, a lot of the stress from the non-podcast stuff has decreased and has mitigated down to zero. And now we just all about the podcast.
Hell yeah.
No more split committee.
Oh, dude. RBBC is gone.
Yeah, excited. Let's do this.
Yeah, man. One game is already under wraps, and we have a whole slate of games to talk about on Sunday. Again, we're the only playbook. First things first, social media. The interactions have been fantastic. Shishot, our medical man, has been going ham on the Twitter with injuries, posting injuries before, the rap reports, before the...
Yeah, we actually broke news before Adam Schefter today.
Yeah, exactly. So you guys should be following us if you guys want the latest injuries, the latest updates, all that kind of stuff, anything football related.
Yeah.
So
and go rate us on podcasts, too, on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
Rate us, tell us how we are.
Apple Podcasts, leave us a review, 5-star review, maybe 1-star if we suck, but 5-star review preferably. But yes, engagement in social media has been fantastic. We encourage it. Keep it coming. Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Anchor FM, I believe.
Yep.
All that's on the link tree, and I think we also have a TikTok. So all that's on our link tree. Feel free to give us as much engagement as possible, because that's what this is all about. He just freed up a bunch of time to do more of this. So the more engagement, the better, guys. So again, certainly encourage it. Definitely appreciate the support so far. First things first, let's kick it off right into the game that happened yesterday. Another Thursday Night Football game where on paper I was expecting finally for us to catch up to ourselves and it'd be like, finally, on the matchup's a dud. Probably not going to be the best game, but another surprisingly good game, right? The Jags visited the Bengals. The Bengals were 2-1. The Jags coming in still searching for their first victory. Played a really, really close football game. Actually led early on. They do end up dropping this one 24-21. Jags end up covering their 7.5 point spread, and the under hits at 46. It was 45 was the total score, and the under came in. So I bet over bettors were sweating there as well as under bettors. But the Bengals surprisingly moved to 3-1 on the early season. Jags now dropped to 0-4. What did you guys like about this one?
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence. He played pretty decent game. He looks promising long term. No picks, 17 for 24, 204 yards. I think that's a good sign. And I think Jags definitely had a chance to win this game. There's a 3rd and 4 that Lawrence doesn't get, and the Bengals get the ball back with 4 minutes remaining, and then they go on to kick a field goal. So good signs on the Lawrence and the Bengals front. The Jags front. However, I'm wondering, why did they draft this Etienne guy?
Yeah.
Like, with Robinson getting two touchdowns, what were they thinking? I
don't know. Yeah. I don't know what they were thinking, because Robinson clearly, when he gets enough carries, he got 18 carries for 78 yards and 2 touchdowns. This team has a solid chance. I mentioned the stat last week. I forget exactly what it was, but when you give Robinson enough carries, they're in most of these games. The Jaguars have lost each of their last 5 games in which they lead by 7 or more points in the first quarter, which is pretty sad. But maybe if you start running the ball with your go-to running back, that could be conserved a little bit better.
It's just weird, right? Because Robinson, to me, not only does he put up good numbers when he gets the volume, but he also passes the eye test. Like, he looks like a good running back, and then the numbers support it. So, I don't understand the draft pick, 1. 2, I don't understand, like you said, the lack of early volume. When you have a rookie quarterback, you need him to be in situations that are beneficial to him, not be run and gun just because he's the number 1 pick, right? And so, feed the guy that dominated last year as a rookie. Let him get you in the flow of the game, and then that takes pressure off Lawrence. But you're right. Lawrence, I think this was probably his best game thus far, just simply because he protected the football.
Yeah, he didn't throw a pick. Yeah.
Right. Turnovers are key, right? As a young quarterback early on, yes, you want to make flashy plays, you want to throw touchdowns, but protecting the football helps you win football games, and that's what kept this one close. They were winning early on, and then obviously on the other side of the coin, same thing, right? Burrow also had a great game, no turnovers. He ended up spreading the ball really, really well. Tyler Boyd was kind of the benefactor of this game with 9 for 118, and then their tight end.
Yeah, Uzomah?
Uzomah? Is that how you say it? Uzomah?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, Uzomah with 5 catches, 95 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
Wild.
2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase, I played against him. I was happy he only had 6 catches for 77 yards.
Yeah. Let me predict you Uzomah's rest of the season, okay? So what's going to happen is some noob out there is going to pick him up, start him next week, complain about it, drop him. Some other guy's going to pick him up. Nothing's going to happen for 2 weeks. He's going to drop him. Someone's going to pick him up, and he's going to score 2 more touchdowns, and then he won't do shit for the rest of the year.
Yeah, he definitely seems like the kind of boomer bust kind of guy, and obviously when you see 2 touchdowns in this much volume, you're going to be like, oh, I got to scoop this guy up.
Kelsey tweeted about him.
Did he? What did he say?
He was just like, yeah, the guy's balling or something along those lines. Yeah.
I mean,
Tight end university invite.
If he's getting Kelsey's approval, then maybe we need to give him a look.
Well, I don't know about that. But
but no, again, he had a great game. Again, the thing with that is they have so many mouths to feed. Higgins was out, so I think he became kind of the benefactor of that. Yeah. But if Higgins is healthy, that three-headed receiving core makes it tough. And Mixon had a solid game, 16 carries, 67 yards, and a touchdown. And then on the receiving side for the Jags, Shenault had 6 catches, 99 yards. So he had a pretty solid game.
The biggest thing for Bengals has been like the question mark about their offensive line, which
they've held up.
They've held up, only 1 sack the whole game. So, looking good there.
Yeah, it was a very clean, exciting game, back and forth. No, not a lot of slop, no turnovers.
Yeah, it reminded me of watching like a national championship game.
Very much same kind of aura.
These guys did play each other in the national championship game also, but
LSU and Clemson.
2 number 1 quarterbacks finally had a good game under their belt. Maybe there's some good things to come in these two teams' future.
Yeah, I would say even though the Jags dropped to 0-4, most even-keeled performance we've seen from Lawrence. So and again, Robinson finally getting in the flow of things.
That's the thing. It's like week 1, they ignored Robinson, right? Yep. Week 2, they kind of gave him a little bit more opportunity. Week 3, they gave him a lot more opportunity. And if you remember the progression of how close they are in these games, they were actually leading week 3 by 14 points against the Cardinals, Yep. And they did the same philosophy this game, but I guess, it's not. This game's not on Robinson by any means. It's on the defense. Offense did great. He probably should have had 1 more touchdown if Lawrence wasn't gonna run that in and get stopped at the line.
Right.
So I think they got their philosophy down. It took Urban Meyer like 4 weeks to figure things out on how to run this offense. But I think you might see some good football from the Jaguars here on out.
I just think with how successful Robinson has shown him to be and with his production the last 2 weeks, his 18 carries should be closer to like 25, 26. I feel like you need to feed him a little bit more, and I think that's the difference in extending 1 more drive, taking 5 more minutes off the clock. Like little things right there. Give him the ball. He's producing.
Yeah. I think once they start taking the lead, once they start taking the lead like deep into the game, which, it won't happen very often, but when it does happen, that's when you'll see Robinson with 25 carries, maybe up to 30 carries.
Yeah. He's been good after the first couple of games, which, again, not to the fault of his own, just wasn't getting used. But overall, again, Burrow looking good, right? Bengals surprising 3-1. Offensive line's holding up to get them these dubs. And, it'll be interesting to see kind of how they hold up in that division with the Steelers starting off rocky and the Ravens having question marks. So
number 1 in the division.
Yeah, Jags early season favorites for the number 1 overall pick. So maybe they won't draft another running back. They'll draft a backup quarterback to Lawrence this year for some reason. So that's a great Thursday night game. That leads us into the segue of everything that's to come, which is the slate of games this weekend, folks. First things first, let's kick it off with my segment here, the buy stock, sell stock segment. I'm going to give you 2 guys that I'm buying this week, 2 guys that I'm selling this week. Let's get right to it. First, I am going to buy Odell Beckham Jr. this week.
He's back.
Odell Beckham Jr. made his season debut last week. Looked pretty good. I think he had like 5 catches, 77 yards. Didn't have to do too much just with the way the flow of that game went. But this week he's at the Vikings. Our Vikings. Love the Vikings. I think they're going to win this week. But,
Your Vikings.
But Odell Beckham, our Vikings. Odell Beckham should have a good game. This should be the game that we're expecting, from, I guess, prime Odell Beckham. He's playing the Vikings, who are ranked 29th right now against opposing receivers in terms of fantasy points given up. And this was a crazy stat to me. I was listening to Pro Football Focus earlier. Brashad Breeland is giving up a passer rating of 157 when targeted. And we know how bad Brashad Breeland's been, right? Patrick Peterson is giving up a passer rating of 158 when being targeted, albeit he's getting targeted a lot less.
Yeah, the sample size over there is a little low.
But in any case, that's a recipe that Odell Beckham Jr. should have a good game, because I expect the Vikings, Zimmer's philosophy to be shut down the run, because they're a run-first team, so that should open up play actions. Odell Beckham should feast against these cornerbacks. Hopefully we get some back-end help from Harrison Smith, but I am fully on board with buying Odell Beckham Jr. this week to have a great game, and I think it should be his best game of the season, considering it's the second week.
It's a good bet. I like that matchup.
Yeah, matchup favors him big time. Yeah. Again, we'll see how the flow of the game goes. We know the Browns love to run, but if you have Odell Beckham, this is a great week to start him. So I am buying Odell Beckham. My first sell on the board is going to be a guy that has been an early season surprise, has been completely outproducing what people have expected him, but I am going to sell Brandon Cooks at Buffalo this week. Brandon Cooks has had 3 weeks of outstanding performances. Again, exceeding expectations based on what I expected and the quarterback carousel that's been there. But we're looking at a Buffalo team. Again, they're traveling at Buffalo. Buffalo held Terry McLaurin last week to 4 catches for 62 yards. I was selling on him last week as well, if you remember. And I feel like Brandon Cooks has a shittier quarterback situation than Buffalo did. I trust Heineke over Davis Mills early on, and I think my fear was how are they going to get Heineke enough throws or into the flow of the against that defense to allow for good fantasy production from receivers, and I feel the same way about Davis Mills. I think it's going to be a struggle. I don't think they're going to be able to get the ball downfield against Tre'Davious White, and so for this week, I am going to actually sell Brandon Cooks at Buffalo. Thoughts?
It's on the matchup's not looking good, but as a Brandon Cooks holder, I'm not gonna bench him. Right, I'm still gonna start him in hopes that even if the Buffalo Bills are up by
garbage time,
exactly. He's the only receiver that they will probably throw it to. I mean, there's other guys, but I have full faith that Brandon Cooks will get those garbage time catches. So. I mean, I'm still going to start him, but I see what you're saying, why you would sell him.
Yeah. It's just matchup-wise, he's in a tough predicament. Let's see if he can still produce, because that's been the name of his game so far through 3 weeks. Yeah. So prove me wrong, Brandon Cooks, but I'm going to sell Brandon Cooks this week at Buffalo. My second buy of the week, it's going to be an interesting one. I am buying Lamar Jackson at Denver. Here's the reason why this is a buy. I was reading an article. Matthew Berry has Lamar Jackson outside of his top 10 in terms of fantasy quarterbacks starting this week. Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so, air quotes. They're facing Denver. He's traveling to Denver. Denver early this season has been number one against opposing quarterback fantasy points, but we've talked all season about Denver's lack of strength of schedule.
They
faced Zach Wilson, rookie quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, rookie quarterback, Daniel Jones, you may as well call him a rookie quarterback, right? So that is not a great, arsenal of quarterbacks that they've faced to make me fear starting Lamar Jackson when we've also talked about how valuable a quarterback who can run, especially from a fantasy perspective, is, right? So Matthew Berry's given wrong signals here, this so-called guru about putting Jackson outside of the top 10. I still think Jackson puts up 25 plus fantasy points this week. I think this is going to be a week where they had actually gotten news that Rashad Bateman and Miles Boykin have been activated off the IR. I don't know for sure if they're going to play this week, but he needs all the help he can get. Right. I mean, Hollywood Brown was 2 touchdown drops away from Lamar Jackson. 3 touchdown drops away from Lamar Jackson having another 35-plus point week last week. So you expect those kind of things to kind of progress to the mean.
The only thing Denver can really do is contain Lamar Jackson. This is going to be the team that Lamar Jackson hasn't faced so far that has really good defensive ends that can actually contain him. So I think that's the only thought process here, because outside of Lamar Jackson's throwing, he can still run. And usually when you put pressure on a quarterback that can run, that equals more yards running, I mean, because a lot of the defense is coming towards you.
Yep.
And if you make that one cut to leave that area, it's a wide range of field. So I think, I don't know why Matthew Berry's kind of, maybe he's getting a little old.
Yeah, I just think they're falling into this whole Denver 3-0 good defense, which, don't get me wrong, 3-0 impressive. They do have a good defense on paper, but they have not beaten anybody that gives me enough faith to doubt starting a fantasy quarterback such as Lamar.
Right, it's top Jackson. 3 fantasy quarterback, right? And the only thing here that Denver can ride off of is this confidence that they've developed after just whooping 3 teams in a row. Mm-hmm. That'll play a lot into how they play this game. When you're struggling and you're supposed to win, you still have that fear about how the games have gone so far. But when you're coming off just whooping teams left and right, you think you can beat anybody.
Yep.
So maybe that's the mindset Denver has right now. But I'm not buying fully into Denver's defense. I know it's good, but like I said, I've been preaching this since week 1. Week 4 is when things unravel, and I think it's time for Denver to kind of unravel.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think Denver's got one of the highest time of possession this year. So if the Ravens defense can stop them and give Lamar Jackson those opportunities to get those fantasy points, I think that certainly that's going to be the buy. And that's the if. Ravens defense needs to show up for Lamar Jackson to also have.
And they haven't really been showing up this season.
And that's a great point, right? Is the Denver's defense also seems like they've been a benefactor of being on the field a lot less with the time of possession controlling the clock, right? So keeps them fresh, keeps them healthy, keeps them fast. And again, when you have an offense like the Ravens who are run first, if Lamar can start grinding and picking up first downs, keeping that defense on the field longer, I still think he's going to find a way to outrun everybody. Yeah. So I am still going to buy Lamar Jackson this week. My last sell of the week is going to be Damien Harris of the New England Patriots. I am selling him. He's facing the Bucs this week. The Bucs are 9th against opposing running backs. I expect the reason I'm selling this is just kind of the game flow that I expect this to go, right? We saw a recipe for how the Pats can struggle last week when Mac Jones wasn't getting enough time. He's getting pressured. I fully expect the Buccaneers to do just that, right? And I fully expect Tom Brady's return Foxborough to be kind of a revenge game for him. Like he's the typical kind of guy who's going to have other things involved in motivating him to play better, and this is the biggest revenge game I can think of, right? Moving on beyond a quarterback thinking he's past his prime, you're old, we'll get rid of you, goes to another team, wins the Super Bowl, first return to Foxborough. So based on the way this game is going to go, I expect Tom Brady and the Patriots and the Bucs to literally be at the Patriots' throats, trying to score all the time, never let their foot up the gas. And I think situationally, Damien Harris is the Pats running back, right? His first and second down. Now, James White got hurt, but what I'm expecting is Brandon Bolton to get the third down catches, and even they bring in their second-year running back, J.J. Taylor, I believe, in some of those change of pace backs. So I just think because there's not going to be a lot of opportunities to run, this could be a situation where Mac Jones has to throw the ball 45 times.
Yeah, so this is actually what's going to happen. So I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick knows what's going on, and the Buccaneers have allowed 300 or more yards and 2 passing touchdowns to each starting quarterback so far. So they clearly aren't this insane defense against the pass. Their job is to stuff the run with these big dudes, these Samoan dudes in the middle of the field. And I think they'll do that very well. So I think it's a good call that Harris won't do that well this week, but that doesn't mean Mac Jones won't do well. Right. I think Mac Jones is going to do pretty well.
I think Mac Jones, he's gonna have to keep up. Will he maybe throw a couple of interceptions or something? Sure,
possibly.
But I expect him to have 300 plus yards in a couple of touchdowns.
He kind of has to.
Yeah, he has to. Otherwise, this could be a romp.
Yeah,
just a romp fest. So for that reason alone, I'm going to sell Damien Harris this week. Again, it just depends on kind of what your running back depth is, but he's not an ideal start for me this week. That's my buy stock, sell stock for the week. Let's kick it over to you, Shisho. Tell us kind of what's going on in the injury world.
So I've been updating a lot on Twitter. So, we're not going to go through all the injuries right now. We're just going to go to the most recent or the most pertinent ones, I guess. Just check out Twitter whenever you get a chance. We're going to be updating that literally every day, the whole time. So if you have any questions, check that out. But I'm going to give you some that you might want to wonder about right now. DJ Chark, I know that's like a lot of people's third or fourth wide receiver, but he actually broke his ankle. He's not going to be playing for the rest of the season. Michael Pierce, Vikings nose tackle, and one of the best at his job. He didn't practice today. That's actually terrifying news because they're facing Chubb. They're facing this dual-headed running back attack, and if he's out, it's game over, honestly. So got to keep an eye on that news. Julio and A.J. Brown both out on Sunday. That means Ryan Tannehill has to spread the ball like he did last week. But is that good enough this week? We're going to find that out. And then Nick Foles is not going to be doing anything as far as the gameplay is considered. So it's either going to be Andy Dalton or Justin Fields. Justin Fields has a thumb injury, but he practiced fully. Nothing to worry about there. Andy Dalton's calf issue, I don't think that's going to be an issue either. So I think this is going to come down to Matt Nagy making a decision, and I think he'll choose Justin Fields.
I think you go Fields.
Yeah.
Give him the best situation against the Lions.
Yeah, if you can't beat the Lions, then it's time to go back to the bench and learn. That's about it as far as main injuries. There's also the Steelers news. These receivers can't catch a break. Now Juju and Deontay are fully back in practice. They were running around like crazy animals today. But Claypool didn't practice. He was limited yesterday. So, if you own Claypool, you're likely not starting him in a 12-man league. But, you were probably hoping for a big day so you can at least make him a trade bait. Or if you had an injury on your team, you could start him next week. But that's going to have to wait one more week. That's basically all the big news as far as what happened today and yesterday goes. Anything else that comes in from today till Sunday, we will update you via Twitter.
Twitter, @OnlyPlaybook on Twitter. Not the only playbook. That's the only place that we're only playbook. So @OnlyPlaybook. Yes, injury updates probably should be coming flooding in tomorrow. Mm-hmm. We'll update you guys as quickly and as fast as we can with everything that we get. But appreciate the injuries, Shishot. Let's jump right into, we're going to preview every single game on the board. Talk about everything that we kind of want to highlight. We'll talk about the betting, the over-unders, the spread, all that good stuff. First game on the board, we have the Titans visiting the New York Jets. The Jets still searching for their first victory. They're 0-3. Titans come in 2-1, winners of 2 straight. You just talked about how their starting 2 receivers are going to be out. How can the Jets come away with a victory here?
Well, so the Jets are 9th in the NFL as far as defense goes. So I think that their rookie cornerbacks should be able to hold off the guys that are not named Julio Jones and A.J. Brown, who aren't playing this week. So, if I'm a better betting guy, I am considering taking the Jets. This may be the one game that they get. What they need to do is they need to stop that guy in the backfield.
Who can't be stopped? Stop what can't be stopped.
Stop what can't be stopped. But that's what they need to do. And if they do, then you're going to be looking really good.
Titans are favored by 6, and the over/under is 44.5. So are you taking the Jets outright money line dogs, or you like them +6 to cover the spread?
I like the money line odds.
Okay.
Yeah. Just I don't know what the
I don't know what the
is.
money line odds are, but
Yeah.
6-point dogs, you're probably getting pretty juicy.
You're going to get a good deal.
Yeah.
So, if you just want to dabble in it, along with some other bets, this may be something that you want to look into.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the Jets are the only team in the NFL this season to allow 5 or more rushing touchdowns and have 0 defensive touchdowns. So Derrick Henry might have a better game than he did that monster game the other week.
That makes me super excited.
The only thing here is Zach Wilson has been sacked 15 times this season, which is the most in the NFL, and that's the 4th most for a rookie quarterback through week 3.
Wow.
So I expect Tennessee's defense, which isn't that good at all. They're actually not good at all. But I'm actually starting them in all my fantasy leagues this week. Another little fantasy strategy, you got to look out for your defenses well ahead of time so you can set yourself up like this. Tennessee plays New York Jets this week. They play Jacksonville next week. This was a pretty easy start for me.
Yeah, straight Jets fade at this point, right?
Yeah,
until they prove otherwise, we're fading the Jets.
What have you seen from the Jets to prove anything otherwise?
You've seen drops,
Yeah.
right? Like the receivers, the most drops, second most drops in the
Yeah.
NFL.
You think they went to like a wide receiver training camp over the?
Clearly not.
They were probably hanging out with DK Metcalf too much in the offseason.
He's actually not doing too bad so
he's
far.
Not, he's not.
Neither's Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
Wow,
He can't stay on the field.
I'm happy for your guys'.
He's not even on the field, so of course he can't draw passes.
One
but yeah,
game.
that's kind of what I'm looking at as well. This could be a Derrick Henry 40 carry game because Tannehill, I mean, quite frankly, he's going to have to spread the ball. But last week he had the benefit of at least having Julio as a decoy to spread it to the other guys. Yeah. Now you're like literally expecting McNichols. And like these.
So
Josh Reynolds.
Big brain fantasy move. Yeah. I actually picked up McNichols.
There we go.
In 2 of my leagues because this load that Derrick Henry's going to have to handle, he's not inhuman. He's still a man, right? Yeah. As far as I know, he's still a man.
He's close.
Like he could possibly get hurt. So, like, these are the games where you're getting heavy carries, heavy load. Everybody knows Derrick Henry is going to be running this ball.
That's literally the game plan. The defense.
So, I just went ahead and picked up his backup just in case.
I like that.
Big brain.
You're six steps ahead. We're all playing checkers. He's playing chess.
Yeah, sometimes.
So no, that should be a good one. I expect the Titans to come out victorious here. I don't see, again, the Jets have not given me enough belief here that they can stick around, but they are the benefit of being at home. They're playing against a Titans team that has 2 of their receivers out, and the Titans' defense so far has been horrendous. So if there's a game, if there's a trap game, if there's a decent game to lay the money line down on the dogs, it's a dog at home searching for their first victory against a beaten up other team. So I don't mind a bet there against the Jets. I still think the Titans.
These opinions are mine and mine only.
Yeah.
So
these are not recommendations. Nobody's telling you to bet the Jets. That's just what Showit's probably going to do. Let's get right to the next game on the board. The Chiefs, the 1-2 Chiefs, are traveling to Philly. They're taking on the 1-2 Eagles. Chiefs have dropped 2 straight games. They are 7-point favorites here at Philly. Over/under sitting at 54. 2 teams, searching for answers. I mean, you don't really say that about the Chiefs early on because it's 3 games. You're not overreacting, but you don't really expect the Chiefs to have 2 game losses in a row. I think we all said we don't expect the Chiefs to lose 2 in a row, so we were all taking the Chiefs and they lost. And so
I think somebody listened to our first podcast where we told them to play cover 3 and take away Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, that's literally been the recipe right there. Tyreek Hill has been kind of a no-show. I mean, they found a way to try to get defenses or to get Mahomes to beat them without Tyreek Hill and just limiting Kelsey, right? It doesn't seem like Kelsey's getting stopped. He's still getting his production.
He's actually number 3 wide receiver in fantasy right now. Not even tight ends. Yeah. Tight ends is just, it's a given.
Yeah. So clearly they're just containing Kelsey to where he's not having like a 40-point game, and then they're trying to take away Hill and letting other guys beat you. Yeah. But what's the recipe here?
I think it's like the matchup of the 2 quarterbacks, really, like Mahomes versus Hurts, and I'm gonna go and say Mahomes takes this one. I mean, the Chiefs take it. I just, like you said, I just can't see them winning 3 games in a row, losing 3 games in a row.
Yeah, that'd be monumental.
Yeah, well, and we can keep saying this. And when they were in like week 16, the Chiefs are 1-14, and we're like, I just can't see them losing 16 games in a row.
Well, I mean, they looked terrible against the Cowboys, but the Cowboys defense is a lot better.
Charger? You mean the Eagles?
The Eagles?
Yeah.
Than the Chiefs is. So I'm gonna say Chiefs on this one.
This should be a shootout, right? Yeah. Chiefs defense is awful. The Eagles defense is kind of whatever. And the Eagles' offense tends to put their defense in shitty situations, and so against that Mahomes team, I just think Hurts should expect a huge fantasy day.
Yeah, I think this is going to be Hurts' biggest fantasy day of the season.
Yeah.
So here's it's a weird stat because these are both like offensive quarterback fire-powered throwing attacks, but the Eagles have averaged 129 rushing yards per game this season, and the Chiefs have allowed 160 rushing yards per game this season.
Oh.
So I think Hurts might break over 100.
I'm gonna
put that in.
I'm gonna check Jalen Hurts' rushing prop this week.
Yeah, put money into that one.
There's people thinking about starting Gainwell this week, and I don't.
I've even thought about it.
You've thought about that?
Yeah, well, my running backs are very
he's
thin.
pretty scarce.
Yeah. I mean, it's Sanders looks like he gets bulk of the carries.
Yeah.
But
Gainwell came in at the end of the game, and
this is more so the product of the fact that they're playing the Chiefs.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so it's like anybody that touches it has a chance to go against the Chiefs. And so you're just banking on something crazy like that. But I don't know. Until the Eagles have actually put together an offensive product that doesn't look as shitty as it did last week, and the only team they haven't looked bad against is the Falcons. There's so much to figure out. You mentioned last week the Eagles very badly need like a veteran receiver or somebody reliable that you can just go to on third down, on slants, like possession receiver, right? They got all these young guys that they're expecting so much out of, and coming into situational plays where you're like, I'm going to drop a play for you to get a 5-yard slant. Well, it's tough. They're not getting those because they're both so small.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so their two best receivers are tiny as fuck.
Yep.
And then they have two tight ends who are huge.
Yep.
But there's no middle guy that has a little bit of height and a little bit of speed.
Yep.
So they're just relying on this like quickness, quick outs and quick drag routes with these wide receivers and sometimes deep, and then doing these quick out routes with these tight ends. I'm like, you're limiting yourself to so much by not having a bigger wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, I have full faith in both of these games. What's the spread on this game?
Chiefs are favored by 7.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't see the Chiefs side of the ball lacking in any category. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire also has a pretty decent game this week.
Yep.
I think every Chief's going to do well. It's just a matter of Philadelphia. Can they finally get shit together?
Yeah, if they can get shit together and keep up, this could be like a run and gun shootout, really fun game.
Yeah,
we could see Hurts possibly have some bombs to Rieger or Smith. Finally, but if not, if we see that same bullshit disarray like we saw against the Cowboys, then I mean the Chiefs could literally just romp them.
Both these defenses are pretty lackluster, so I think we're going to be pretty good.
I wouldn't take the Chiefs -7 on this. I would maybe side towards the Eagles. I mean, I'm definitely not going to bet on this game for sure. I don't want to do anything with the Chiefs as far as betting goes. Yeah. But I would be more in favor to pick the Eagles +7 than the Chiefs -7.
Yeah, 7. You're giving 7 or getting 7 points at home. Pretty interesting, right? That's a lot of points. The Chiefs are notorious for not covering recently, so there's that. Over under 54. I mean, I personally will take the over on that just because I'm expecting the Eagles to be able to score against this Chiefs team. It's so hard to not score against the Chiefs because the Chiefs defense is so bad right now, and the Chiefs offense should be able to score. So I'm going to take the over.
I'm taking the over too. Even if the over was 56, I might still take it.
Yeah, I like that. I think we could see like a 60-point combined, something in there. But should be a really good, fun game as long as the Eagles come to play. I want to see kind of a run and gun back and forth type situation. So that should be a good, fun matchup. Next game on the board, also another great matchup. The 3-0 Panthers, early season surprise. They are going to be traveling here 2 miles south or whatever direction, 2 miles to the Dallas Cowboys, Jerry World. They're 2-1, coming off a really, really impressive victory against the Chargers, and then destroying the Eagles. So the Cowboys are riding high. They're at home again. They're playing against a Panthers team that is, again, without CMC for another week, and they're surprised 3-0. So to me personally, I feel like the Cowboys are in a very ideal situation where the Panthers are due for a letdown because they're 3-0, and the Cowboys are riding a high. They're at home, and right now the Cowboys are a team that I personally fear. Their defense has played way better than what I expected them to play, and that's been kind of the one area that's been lacking. We know about their offense. We know what their offense can do, and if their offense, stays healthy, this is a damn scary team. And I personally think the Cowboys are going to beat the Panthers. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I'm all in on the Cowboys beating the Panthers. This is the only team that has a legit throwing attack and a legit running attack. Zeke and Pollard each have over 180 rushing yards this season. They're the only team in the NFL to have two running backs that have done that. Yep. So, and then the Panthers have allowed 14 or fewer points in each of their last 3 games. So something's got to give here. You know, this huge fire-powered offense of the Cowboys versus this stifling defense of the Panthers. We're going to see which one's actually legit this week.
Yeah, and we talked about, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but we talked about the Panthers cornerback, J.C. Horn. I think he's out for season now, or he's out extended amount of time to where he's not playing this week.
He's on the IR.
So who's going to be covering those receivers?
That's huge. This is a statement game for both teams, right? How good is the Panthers defense, and how good is that Cowboys offense? We've seen them play, just throw great games against the Eagles, the Buccaneers, but there is one thing that's gonna be a factor in this game, and that's that the Cowboys played on Monday night. So they've had like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, five games, 5 days,
get 6 days
versus Panthers that played Thursday night.
Yep.
So they have had a longer time to prep for this Cowboys offense.
Yep.
So I'm actually going to side on the Panthers side. I'm going to say that the Panthers come out victorious, or at least they cover the spread.
Yeah, I think 4.5 is a big number.
Yeah.
I think there's a chance the Panthers with that good defense could keep that to a field goal game.
I think
so I could see the Panthers could cover plus 4.5. Over-under sitting at 51.5. I actually personally like the under there.
Yeah.
I think that's really, really high. I think I could see kind of a hard-fought game. Cowboys end up maybe, winning by a field goal, but I don't see a very high-scoring affair, just simply from the fact that both the defenses have been rather surprising.
There's only one thing that kind of points me towards maybe it'll be a high-scoring game, and that's the Panthers haven't allowed more than 25 rushing yards to any individual player so far. So, I mean, if the Cowboys are going to win this game, it's going to be throwing, at least with the small sample size of 3 weeks. So, that's crazy. Not allowing more than 25 rush yards to a single player.
That's going to end this week. There's no way, right?
Right. With both those guys.
Yeah. They both should be able to get 25 yards rushing. And again, if that was the benefactor of bad teams or whatever you want to call it, and the Cowboys can break through in the running game, and I think that just makes them much more vulnerable in the passing game without their corner. And again, it could kind of be a landslide there. So who knows? There's many which ways I see this game unfolding in my head. But I personally think the Cowboys are going to win.
Yeah.
And I usually don't like picking the Cowboys to win. I hate doing that. But I think
it's a win-win then.
Huh?
It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. I hate picking them to win, but I think they're going to win.
Yeah, I think that actually I don't know, but if the Panthers are able to beat the Cowboys, they're probably the best defense in the NFL. I mean,
the Panthers?
Yeah,
for
if
sure.
the Panthers come out victorious here, they're the real deal. Like I will stop doubting them. Because I still am, even though they're 3-0. There's a lot of doubts.
Yeah, I mean, it's only week 4. You can doubt anything you want, and it's valid.
And I don't think the Panthers have had that tough of a matchup.
I mean, they beat the Saints.
They beat the Saints, right?
That was a big win.
And then the Texans. Who was the team in between?
Who did the Panthers play?
I'm sure it wasn't too intriguing.
Texans, Jets.
Yeah,
Jets.
There you go.
Okay, so there you go. So their biggest victory so far has been the Saints. With Jameis Winston, it's still not that impressive.
Yeah,
exactly.
What I'm looking at for this week is which defense is more of a fake news? Is it the Denver defense or the Carolina defense?
Yeah, I like that. So should be another great matchup on the board. Let's jump right into the New York Giants, 0-3, searching for their first victory. They're going to travel to the Saints we just talked about. Saints coming in 2-1. Saints are favored by 7 here. Over/under sitting at 42. Talk to me. What's this?
Who is Daniel Jones going to throw the ball to? I think Evan Ingram is a pretty okay play here this week. And this might be the only time I say this ever for the rest of my life because I just was tortured by him all last year. But they don't have receivers.
Galladay's out? Or
Galladay's in. Galladay's in. But this is not the Galladay that people drafted. Yeah. He's still got an injury, and he's just playing through it. And he's not getting – I mean, they said they were going to limit him last game, which they did. So, I don't think he's fully recovered either. So I don't know who they're going to throw the ball to.
Yeah, Evan Ingram, if he's getting volume, hopefully, because Evan Ingram also is notorious for dropping passes.
Yeah, no. This was I just said that out of emotions. I would not go out there and pick up Evan Ingram unless you really have to, but I'm just saying don't be surprised because
there's nobody else
to throw to.
Yeah, I mean, there's Saquon, who might get some good PPR points there. But I think maybe Danny Dimes has a great day with the legs. I don't know. Maybe he runs the ball more because he doesn't have as many options to throw
It's been working for him.
It is the New Orleans defense, though, so we got to keep
this
that.
Is true.
We got to remember that, too. This might just explode by the end of the second quarter. We don't know, We'll have to see what Danny Dimes has in store for this.
He's got to protect the football. The Saints defense is, stingy. If he can protect the football, they're going to be on the road, and so they're inside the dome.
Yeah. So if he's inside the dome, it's a terrible situation to be in, right?
Yep.
And Daniel Jones, you said, has to protect the ball. Mm-hmm. Daniel Jones has 40 giveaways since 2019, which is the second most in the NFL. The Saints have 7 takeaways this season, which is tied for second in the NFL.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
So Daniel Jones is
on paper, Daniel Jones should have like 3 or 4 turnovers this game.
And there's no receivers with like reliable trust factors instilled in
Who's
them.
his go-to? It's, like you said, it could just be a Najee Harris last week turning into Saquon Barkley this week situation.
Yeah, I just don't believe in Jameis Winston like that either. So I don't see the Saints offense being.
That's why they have the over/under at 42. I think they're expecting like really shitty, like poor offensive performance, sloppy game. But yeah, I don't really have faith in the Saints on the offensive side. It's more so their defense is good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I fully expect it to unfold that way. Let's talk about this next matchup. This is going to be a great game for us. The Browns are traveling to the Dome. They're facing the Minnesota Vikings. Browns come in 2-1. Vikings come in 1-2, winners of their first game of the season. Browns on the road in this Dome are favored by 2 points, and the over-under sits at 51.5.
Damn.
It's going to be a game.
Hey, my friend Chase, he's a huge Browns fan.
Yeah.
I posted some stuff about the Vikings on my Instagram, on my Instagram story, and he commented back saying, "Good luck." So I think he's expecting like a rampage. But what does he know? What do you know, Chase? You don't know shit. Do you, Chase?
Here's the recipe here, Chase. The recipe for the Vikings to come out victorious is all going to depend on the same thing not the same thing, but close to. I think, we talk about the defense so much and their holes and everything, so that's kind of already a known issue. But week 2, I was very terrified about how that offensive line was going to fare against J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones, right? And they came out. Yeah, exactly. Who? They were not even known. That we didn't even see them on the field. They might have not played for all we know. But they came out and stuffed those guys. Like Kirk had all the time in the world. And now we're going against 2 guys who had a combined 6.5 sacks last week. Myles Garrett, early season Defensive Player of the Year candidate.
Oh, yeah.
And then you have Jadeveon Clowney on the other end.
Oh, God. I hate clowns.
Yeah. That's a tough that's if you have to face those guys and seeing what they did last game, you would be worried. But they're also playing the Bears. They're not playing the Minnesota Vikings. So I think that this is going to be a different game.
There's a great point to that because on paper, yes, but also you talk about the execution. They're going against a rookie quarterback last week. They knew that it was his first game, right? They know that he's getting thrown in a week early, so
he's
they know
he crumble under
everything.
pressure.
So they have to bring the pressure, and all they did was brought the pressure. That's why he was sacked 9 freaking times, right? They know that Kirk's not the same way. Kirk is poised. Kirk is accurate. Kirk is an early season MVP favorite. So if they're bringing that kind of pressure, our offensive scheme is perfect for those blitzes on the dump-off, blitzes on those screens. And
even if they bring the pressure and he gets like 3 seconds, maybe a little bit less, on passes, more than 10 yards down the field, if he can just chuck it up there, he's accurate enough to make even those little 10-yard passes under pressure be accurate. So on those passes, 10 yards down the field, his rating is 152.4, which is first among all quarterbacks. So yes, if they bring the pressure, all we have to do is just hold on to the edges and maybe put Madison or Cook, whoever's back there, to block a little bit more than they normally do, and it will be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump into the homer kind of train too early because we had a great victory last week, but if I'm a betting man, I'm taking the Vikings at home. I just think people are underestimating how much of a factor that home field inside that dome is.
Dude, it's insane.
And it might be the best in the league. And I'm not just saying that as a homer. It's insane, right? And so if we're expecting Baker Mayfield to if I'm in Zimmer's shoes here, the game plan has to be try to get Baker to beat you, right?
Yeah.
Because their running game, their offensive line is insane. So we know that they can already do that. So I feel like we have to prep to at least contain that. We can't stop it. You can't stop that. We can contain it and see what Baker can do. And if that's the recipe, that gives us the best chance to win. And our offense, I'm not even slightly worried about. If Kirk gets 2 seconds to throw, we're good.
And, if for some reason Kirk is hindered on the pass, Dalvin Cook through 2 games, right? Most running backs have now played 3 games. Dalvin Cook has played 2 games. He still leads the league in 14 missed tackles forced, 9 rushes of 10 or more yards, and he leads the league in 13 rushes for first downs after not playing a game. Yeah. So, pick your poison, Cleveland. Yeah. As long as we don't turn the ball over, which is what we've been doing, this is about as easy as it gets. I mean, it's not easy, but on paper, looking at the schematics, I don't see how we lose this game unless we just turn the ball over.
Yeah, I'm looking at this as a 3-0 team playing a 2-1 team. I'm not seeing the Vikings as a 2-1 team. Like
one and two.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is I don't know what's the spread and the
Browns -2.
Yeah, so I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, that mean
on the road
field goals.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I think even taking Minnesota straight up, I'm like that may be a good bet here. Yeah, I don't see the Browns beating the Vikings this week, to be honest.
Yeah, the Browns defense really has to step up. We're top 3 in total net yards. We've scored over 24 points in each game this season. So offensively, it's probably one of the best we've seen this decade. And if Cleveland has an answer for that, great. But I don't think they do.
Fantasy-wise, I'm looking and monitoring Cook. Right?
Yeah.
Do I need to start Madison or do I need to start Cook?
You start Madison until otherwise.
Yeah, because the game's at 12.
Yeah.
So you need.
They won't. If Cook's not 100%, I don't think they'll risk it. So your lineup should have Madison in it right now until you're monitoring it, like you said, at noon. Because Madison proved he's clearly good enough to handle the load, and that gives us so much more time and the leeway to be like, Cook, just get healthy.
Right.
So no, that should be good, man. Holy cow, I'm very excited about that one.
Pumped.
Yeah, that's going to be fucking awesome. But the Lions, the other team in our division, they are 0-3. They're traveling to the other team in our division, the Chicago Bears, who are 1-2, had one of the worst offensive performances we've probably ever seen in our lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, after having that at home against the Lions, are favored by 3, -3, and the over-under is 41. Fields or Dalton? That's the question. Matt Nagy has to come up with that decision. On the other side of the ball, Lions have been, like we talked about, very close in a lot of games, but just can't execute in the clutch, down to the wire.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they did everything they could. They can't stop somebody from making a 66-yarder. But how did the Browns come away victorious? We know division games turn out a little bit differently. I see a very opportunistic game for both sides, right? I see an opportunistic game for Fields, if he starts, to have a game where he can actually get his feet under him and read progressions. Lions defense is nothing to write home about. And then on the other side, I see a Lions team coming in here being like, we're 0-3, we're searching for our victory. The Bears literally put up a historically horrible offensive performance. Let's come in here and show them what's up. So both teams, I think, are destined to try to get a victory here. Who's going to come out?
So I think the Bears are going to win this game. I love the Lions offense. I love the way they play with little to no wide receivers. It's like, what's going to give, right? So Detroit has a good offense. I told you guys last week, this is the worst defense we've ever seen in Detroit. Numerically, this is the worst defense ever. So if Fields is going to get his feet wet somehow, it's this game.
Right.
And I think he's had enough under pressure this week. The preparation has probably intensified. Everything has pointed towards Fields having a better day than he did last week, right? How can you have a worse day than that?
No, you can't.
So, and then Chicago's defense, I've also mentioned this a couple times on the podcast, is not like a bottom tier defense.
Right.
This defense can hang on with a lot of teams.
They still have Khalil Mack.
They do. And they still have a couple of other players that, go under the radar, but it just historically, Bears typically have good defense.
Yeah, Lions and Bears, 2 divisional matchups. I don't really know what to make of it. I'm looking at this from the fantasy standpoint, and I'm seeing that the Lions can give up 10-plus fantasy points to the tight end in each of the last games. So maybe Cole Kmet, it could be a viable target for either Justin Fields or Andy Dalton.
We still have no idea who Fields likes to throw the ball to because he hasn't done much of it. And like we talk about, rookie quarterbacks love their tight ends.
Yeah, and then Swift. Here's a fun stat. Swift has 19 catches for 166 yards and a touchdown this year.
As a running back.
As a running back, that's 41.6 PPR points, an average of 13.9. So get this, right? If he hadn't had a single carry, he would be the running back 13 this season.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Boom. Damn. I love how both of your guys' thoughts came together there because you said you love the Lions offense and you just gave us such amazing stats to kind of back that up. That's insane. Swift is amazing. Who has Swift in our league? I need to trade for that guy.
Trouble.
Yeah.
Trouble.
The only Lions fan.
Makes sense.
He's got Hawkinson and Swift, right?
Yeah, he does. But no, again, both teams should come into this game expecting to win, right? Because this is one of the biggest opportunities they're going to get.
Oh, yeah.
And so for that reason alone, pair with the fact that it's a divisional game, I think this could be a surprisingly insanely awesome game to watch.
I'm excited to watch this game. Just not only because it's in my division, but it's just teams with a lot of question marks, and I want some answers.
Yeah, exactly. We're looking for answers. Yeah. Are they who we thought they were, or are they not?
Which ones?
The Bears.
The Bears, they are who I think they are.
They are.
An average team with a below average offense and okay defense.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Should be a good one. This next game is not expected to be a good one. This is expected to be the biggest lopsided matchup in terms of spreads I've seen. The Texans, who are 1-2, are traveling to Buffalo to take on the 2-1 Buffalo Bills.
Man.
The spread here is the Texans are favored by 17 points. Over under 47.
You mean Buffalo's favorite?
Sorry,
Bills.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Buffalo is favored by 17 points at home.
My God, I hope the hospitals have enough beds in the ER
Yeah.
because Buffalo's about to send a lot of Texans into that hospital.
Ooh,
Dude, you
man,
thinking
that's
they're
gonna be
covering
bad.
17?
I don't know if they're covering, but it's gonna be. I'm not gonna want to watch this game if I don't have Buffalo's fantasy players.
Yeah.
There's no point to watch this game for me.
I love that Vegas thinks it's going to be a 7 like that spread 17 point
Yeah.
because that just means Brandon Cooks, man. Get some garbage points. I love that. But this offense is rolling, and I don't know if they need motivation, but maybe they look back at like the divisional match, the playoffs whenever the Texans beat the Bills like 2 years ago, and maybe they use that to like
completely different team, but
completely different teams.
Still the same team name, right?
Yes.
On the jersey. So no, that could be, like you said, it doesn't seem like they need much motivation. They could probably play like their C- game and still win this game.
Right.
There's a nice little bright spot though.
Give it to us.
So Davis
the
Mills,
ray of sunshine.
So Davis Mills has the highest passer rating among all rookie quarterbacks right now. Yeah.
He's only played 1 week though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just funny because he was the 8th quarterback selected.
Because he had a touchdown and no interception. I think he was fairly accurate too.
And he's playing in a quarterback class that has like some of the biggest names we've heard in like recent history. So
they did say David Mills could have possibly been a first rounder, but he decided to stay in college one more year.
And then that actually hurt him.
Yes.
Stay in school, kids.
No, don't stay.
Actually, this one's the opposite. No comment. No comment.
So and then another thing we need to look at for this game is where the fuck is Stephon Diggs, right?
God, man.
He's getting vultured from a wide receiver standpoint.
Fucking Cole Beasley, go get... God, anyways,
yeah. Cole Beasley's out there, and Emmanuel Sanders out there.
Coming out of nowhere. He comes to every team and just produces, man.
He does. That's what he does. And then Josh Allen's legs. Can't forget those. So Stephon Diggs might not get the same amount of receptions he had last year, but it's still Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, he's still getting targets. Not quite from a volume perspective, because Cole Beasley, like I said, he's loving his underneath routes. And
yeah, because it's they're blowing out everybody, so they don't need to potentially get an interception by throwing deep.
Yeah.
So they're just taking their safety nets down below, but I'm sure they're not going to have a cakewalk for the rest of the season.
Yeah, this game almost seems like another game where Diggs might underperform just because they could beat the Texans every which way, right? So having to go to the number one receiver doesn't seem to be like the biggest priority.
It's not a necessity.
Yeah,
no,
exactly. So I don't know. People are probably chomping at the bit because Diggs has a favorable matchup, but you could still be let down. I don't know. You're still starting him 100%.
Right, of course.
Yeah, that's my expectation because I have my other league and I'm just expecting to get a lot of points, but because they're so bad of a team that Allen will probably run one in, Moss will get 2, Singletary breaks one free, and then the defense gets a touchdown. You're just like, fuck Diggs.
Yeah. That's like a 40-point game already.
Exactly.
That's literally what happens every game.
Yes. Yeah. So that's what I'm expecting, but minus 17, I'm not laying down any money for that big of a spread. F that. Moving on, the Colts 0-3, searching for answers. They're traveling to Miami to take on the Miami Dolphins, who are 1-2. Question mark at the quarterback helm. I think do we know if Brissett's starting? Right?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's been no updates outside of Brissett starting.
Okay, so Brissett's going to be starting there. Colts searching for their first win still with no ankle Wentz there at the helm. Looked every bit like he had no ankles last week. Like he couldn't actually. The one thing Wentz is good at, which is evading pressure, he couldn't even do last week. So why are you playing him? How bad are your backups, Shovit?
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Pretty bad. Eason? Not good at all.
God, they look so good in preseason.
Oh, man. Because preseason matters so damn much.
No, but
how much money would you have someone like with the amount of times people have said that to you? What do you think? For $1 for every time that someone says
I could probably leave one fantasy league just because I'd make the money up anyways.
But he had a good preseason. Anyways, what are you going to say?
Yeah, so Miami, there's nothing to take home there as far as fantasy points go, but Jalen Waddle has 22 receptions this season. Only Anquan Bolden had more receptions in the first 3 weeks of a rookie season since 1950.
Damn.
So he's low-key having one of the best rookie wide receiver seasons.
Nice.
You know what his stat line last week was reminding me of?
What?
Just like typical Jarvis Landry stat line. Like 65 catches for 80 yards.
Yeah.
He had 12 catches, 56 yards. I'm like, dude, come on. You're getting like 3-yard catches every play?
Yeah.
But PPR, you're relevant. So, the give and take of fantasy. But yeah, you're right. That makes him a kind of a viable fantasy PPR option, right?
For sure.
I know the Dolphins like to throw underneath, so I don't know how much.
Will
Fuller's back, and he's healthy.
Yeah, I don't know how healthy, but he's back.
Yeah, because I think he played last week. Didn't get a ton of targets or anything like that because Brissett's not about the deep game as much as far as kind of what we've seen. He's more of an like kind of throw it down guy. So I don't know. Gesicki,
Free, Miles,
and then Gaskin. Those are two guys that kind of I'm asking around. Like, what do we think this week? Are they viable starters?
Not until they're freed.
Yeah, I mean, in deeper leagues, Gaskin, yes, probably. But in a 10-man league, I'm not going to start Gaskin.
Even in a 12-man league, I'm not starting Gaskin.
Yeah. It's crazy because, like, the last 5 games of last year, Gaskin just looked unstoppable. He looked amazing, and then it just hasn't been correlating.
And it's not really his fault when you get 5 carries.
Offensive line, too.
Like, when you're touching the ball, like 5.
They're just not giving him the ball.
He actually touched the ball, like, 16 times last week. He got a lot of catches last week, didn't he? They spread the ball out as far as rushing. I think they spread it at like 5-5-5.
Mm-hmm.
But he got some targets. Let's just turn that around and give him the rushing attacks more and then limit the passes to 5.
Yeah. I think that the Dolphins have this game against the Colts.
They're favored by 2.5. So, a field goal gets the job done.
I mean, they almost beat the Raiders last week.
Yeah.
And Brissett's not a bad quarterback. He's got some, maybe some animosity. Like, hey, how'd you guys let me go?
Yeah, it's true.
Brissett
revenge game.
Yeah. See, talking about Tom Brady. Look at
Brissett revenge game on tap.
So maybe that's a reason for the Dolphins to win.
Yeah, 2.5 at home. You're favored by less than a field goal at home when you're supposed to get the home field advantage. Over under is 41.5. Colts just I don't get this team. Like on paper, I thought their defense was supposed to be good, underperforming, and then their receivers.
Yeah. So Darius Leonard, like probably one of the best middle linebackers in football. He's been on the injury report every single week. He's got a serious ankle injury that they're just like taping up and throwing him out there. So I'm sure that has something to do with it because he's like the heart and soul of that defense.
Right.
And if he's not getting to run around as much, he's not getting many tackles. He was number 1 in IDP. I drafted him actually with my first IDP pick, and he was expected to get about like 12 to 13 points, which equals like 8 to 9 tackles. But he has not been doing that because he's just not making it to the defender. But I think, you know what? I'm going to take the Colts this game. I think they have a good rushing day. Miami's defense is laughable as far as the rushing attack, stopping the rush goes.
Big day for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I'm expecting 2 touchdowns, and I don't want anything less.
I just had a premonition. You might not like it.
Nick Himes?
Injury?
I think Himes catches 1 or 2 touchdowns
That's fine.
this game.
That's fine. As long as Taylor also gets 1.
Hines is just always there, man. Just ketchuping it up. Like, just fucking catching passes.
And today's episode, who's vulture and who?
Yeah, fucking Hines. But no, the good thing is Hines never gets a carry. So Taylor will get every carry just about, and all Hines does is catch passes. So, no, I mean, that's interesting. So you would take the Colts plus 2.5 if you're a betting man.
Mm-hmm.
Think the Colts get the job done, get their first dub on the road. Yeah, Dolphins don't give me a lot to like. Brissett's such a, like, vanilla quarterback, just he doesn't do anything amazing. It's just like he's serviceable.
Yeah.
So yes, any team that I feel like just has one extra step of like not blandness can beat that team. Because right now, what is to like about the Dolphins on paper? They're not giving the players that are actually decent to like on paper the ball enough, and they're keeping it in the hands of a guy who just doesn't do much.
Not much. 29th on offense, 24th on defense.
Exactly. Give somebody the ball. Change it up. Give Gaskin the ball. We just talked about how well of a season he had to end last year. Your offense, what you're running right now, is clearly not working. Yeah. Change it up. It could probably just be the product of the offensive line sucking as well, and so their run game couldn't get established even if they wanted to. So, I don't know. Yeah, that should be an interesting game for Colts fans and Dolphins fans, I guess. Let's get into the Washington football team are traveling to the Atlanta Falcons. Shout out to your boy, D-Rudge.
He doesn't get any more shout-outs.
No more. He's getting two. He's hogging all the shout-outs. Falcons are 1-2. Washington football team also 1-2. Washington football team favored in Atlanta -1.5, over under 47.5. Man, if there's a game for the Falcons' lack of offense to actually have a standout performance, it's got to be this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, against the 30th defense in the NFL.
A defense that we thought was going to be top 5 coming in, and now they're just so bad they cannot. Like the three of us could go out there and probably run some plays and get yards on that defense.
I call Holder.
But yeah, I mean, if I'm the Falcons. You look at your schedule, and there's not a lot of, obviously, from an outside perspective, there's not a lot of games you have like we should win this game. But based on how Washington's come into this, first 3 weeks, the Falcons need to try to build some kind of momentum. Mm-hmm. They were bottom feeders. They finally came away with the W. Like, build on that. Come into this game like it's a must-win game. Yeah. These are one of the few games you can win, and you need to build some momentum. Washington football team's defense cannot stop anybody. It's really just going to be a product of two offenses and who, scores a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, when... we say that Washington defense has been poor. Chase Young still has 0 sacks through 3 games.
That's insane. Where's he been?
I don't know. I don't know what he's doing out there, honestly. But I just expect a lot of running backs to score in this game.
Patterson time.
Yeah, a lot of Patterson, a lot of Davis.
Maybe even a Kyle Pitts sighting.
Ooh.
I mean, dude, him and Ridley, somebody needs to have a good game for that offense from that receiving core. Yeah. Like, I just don't understand. There's got to be a game. This is the game to do it. I don't know which one it'll be. Hopefully it's both. I would really be excited for Pitts owners who drafted him so damn high and have been nothing but disappointed.
The guy I'm playing is actually benching Pitts this week.
Yeah, so let's hope he goes off so that guy feels like an idiot.
Sure. One bright spot. I'm all about these bright spots. The Falcons defense, as bad as they are, they have not allowed a 100-yard rusher since 2019.
What?
Yeah, boom.
So teams are just knowing that they can do nothing but throw. And
that's what it really is.
So McLaurin should be like a must start this week.
Oh, definitely.
Scary Terry.
McLaurin, Heineke, I expect both of them to have.
J.D. McKissick probably is going to be a sleeper start.
Oh, my God.
He's catching passes. Falcons are giving up passes to everybody. So
Damn.
McKissick, Logan Thomas expected a big game.
Why aren't you saying Gibson?
Because we just talked about how they don't give up 100-yard rushers. So I'm just expecting everybody they're throwing the ball to.
Yeah, they'll throw the ball to Gibson too.
Yeah, he'll get a couple.
I think after that,
I'm just salty because I have Gibson, so I
no. He'll get his. He'll get it. I think they understood after that losing that game. They're like, why don't we give the wide receiver turned running back some receptions?
You know what happened when they did give it?
Yeah, 70+ yard touchdown.
Yeah,
seems like a no-brainer.
He's way better.
And then you know what he did the next attempt? Dropped the touchdown pass. So
that's why they got McKissick just sitting there waiting.
Man, you almost ended McKissick's career, bro, and you dropped the touchdown at the 1 yard line. You deserve it.
So I think the Falcons win this game at home. They're dogs. I think they win at home.
What's the spread? 2?
Washington -1.5.
Yeah. I don't know.
Coin toss.
This is probably the closest game so far for me to decide. They're just, I don't know. Atlanta's got a good enough offense. Yeah. Their offensive line is atrocious, but they can move the ball. We've seen them move the ball. Washington has Heineke. He just, is weird. It's tenacious.
Yeah.
But he does throw a pick like pretty much every single game. So I don't know if you can afford to do that this game where it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. Yeah. Should be an intriguing one. Not one of the marquee matchups, but still football. So we're still going to enjoy it. Let's get into the Seahawks. They're traveling divisional matchup. They're going to be at the San Francisco 49ers. Seahawks, losers of 2 straight, 1-2 now, and the 49ers are 2-1. So big week 4 matchup here. 49ers at home, only favored by 3. So just getting the home field advantage there. Over under at 52. What are we starting with?
What's the spread?
49ers are favored at home by 3.
Oh, okay.
I feel like this is like an alternate reality that we're living in, where like guys like Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson could have 3 losses back to back to back. Like, is that really gonna happen?
Here's a fun stat.
Yeah.
To throw away the alternate reality.
Okay.
So Russell Wilson has never lost 3 straight games ever.
Look at that.
Well, leave it to this reality. If there was a fucking reality to do it.
No, you're right. You're right. It's just insane how he's never lost 3 games in 147 career starts.
That's insane.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks on this one. I don't think that they lose 3 straight. I think that
there's
Garoppolo.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Yeah, Garoppolo, he can't be fully trusted, The
Free Trey Lance.
49ers are not like NSYNC. They do need Lance.
They're like Backstreet Boys?
No, Lance.
They're not NSYNC. Oh, they need Lance.
Wow,
that was great. That was great. Boy band jokes in like the same joke. That was insane.
That's probably never gonna happen again.
That's insane. Anyways, you're right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I think that, but the thing is, they don't have Lockett, right?
Lockett's actually
he actually came back that same game. He just didn't do much. I think he has a sprained ankle.
Yeah, so he's actually full go. I think from what I saw.
I don't think it's full go. I think he's back at practice, but I don't think he's completely back to good old Lockett self.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Russell Wilson is 15-4 against the 49ers. That's the most wins he has against any single opponent. He's never lost 3 games in a row. And if Lockett's back full health, I don't see how the Seahawks lose this game. We look at, this is what I think, okay? I think Garoppolo is what a lot of people thought Kirk Cousins was. I think that's actually Garoppolo. Mm-hmm. He's like very limited in what he can do. Mm-hmm. He doesn't have a ceiling anywhere. Mm-hmm. He just like average this, average that, average this. So I don't know if you're going to be able to keep up with Russell Wilson with these like accolades that he has against the 49ers. I don't know if you can play average football and win this game.
Seahawks defense isn't very good.
No, it's not.
And Deebo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk and Kittle, barring injury, like they have weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Elijah Mitchell is back healthy again, but I think this game is going to be a shootout. I think there's just going to be points on points on points. I think Russell Wilson's probably going to...
He's going to have to throw.
Yeah.
Because the 49ers are going to run all over
the
Seahawks, and then Russell Wilson's going to have to save himself by throwing a lot.
Yeah. This could be a let Russ cook week.
Yeah, I think he cooks.
I'm benching him, though.
What do you think he's cooking this week?
Probably some...
In San Francisco? Maybe some, like, seafood? Some crab
oysters?
Yeah, oysters. Some, like, seafood array, you know?
Oh,
like,
man.
Everything from
Clams
that Bay Area.
and
Just
lobster.
rub it in the fucking 49ers' faces. But
I'm getting hungry.
I'm starving. But, yeah, I mean, another divisional matchup. The records don't indicate that this is a big matchup, but this is a great game. Another great game on the board. Should be a fun one. Jumping right into probably the marquee matchup of the week, the Arizona Cardinals, the 3-0 Cardinals, traveling to the 3-0 LA Rams. Battle of the undefeateds. Rams at home favored by 4.5, over-under sitting at 54. Man, the Rams early on have looked absolutely scary. I think the Cardinals are the more lackluster 3-0 on paper just because of the way they've won their games. But nonetheless, they're still 3-0. They still have Kyler Murray. Man, this game seems like it's just jam-packed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they beat the Bucs.
Yeah.
The Rams beat the Bucs last week, and Cardinals, they beat the Jaguars, but the Jaguars were up 10 to
14,
19 to 10 or something like that too.
Yeah, 19 to 10 at one point, and so the Cardinals have looked beatable.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess the Jags not a good example, but the Vikings game, the Vikings definitely had a chance to win.
Vikings
that
had beat them.
We beat them.
We missed the field goal. That was a win.
I've been saying this all season long. I don't like the Cardinals. They were just scrappy, and they're just making things work because this little midget's legs.
Yeah.
That's the only reason they're winning.
Yep.
They're not playing well. DeAndre Hopkins is, he has like fewer than 5 receptions in 2 straight games. Mm-hmm. The last time that something like that happened was like 2013. They're spreading the ball. Yeah, that's great and all, but you're losing to the Jaguars at halftime. Like something's not right here, and you're playing against a team like the Rams, who are about as complete as they've ever been since maybe 2000.
Yeah, and they get back Henderson this week.
And they get Henderson back, so that just helps them out a little more. I don't know. It's a pretty easy call for me.
Rams are the team to beat.
Rams
Early season, Rams are the team to beat. Yeah. My only thing with this is because it seems like on paper the Rams are just so solid. Where's their letdown game, right? I mean, they've played probably perfect football so far, and they're going up against another 3-0 team. Yes, at home, Rams defense is just so scary. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, but I'm just looking at this as maybe slightly a possibility of a letdown game just because they came out and beat the Bucs last week, and Arizona just kind of squeaked by. So Arizona at home, knowing they're going against a really good team, or again on the road, they have nothing to lose. I feel like they play a little bit more freely, and when you let Kyler Murray be free, which is pretty much their entire offense, he's scary, right? And so yes, the scrappiness certainly comes into play on paper. I'm just looking at it from the other side of the coin where the Rams come in, I feel like, with more pressure at home, being 3-0 against a 3-0 team, than the Cardinals on the road against a formidable opponent with nothing to lose. So I'm looking at it like there's going to be situations in this game where the Cardinals will like take risks and chances because they're on the road against a really good team that could pay off.
Yeah, so they're going to have to take a lot of risks and a lot of chances because the Rams have allowed fewer than 30 points in 16 straight games. That's the second longest active streak in the NFL. And Arizona has 30-plus points in each of their games this season.
Something's got to give.
Something's got to give.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah. Either way, it's going to be an insanely good game.
Yeah.
I think fantasy points are going to be kind of out the wazoo on the Rams side. Like, Cardinals defense, to me, like, they're not really great. So I think Stafford, Kupp, Woods hopefully.
Yeah.
They should get going. They get Henderson back. So Henderson with Michelle.
Also, Kyler Murray's never beaten the Rams either.
Ooh,
so maybe that's going to play some role in this.
Yeah. Is this the same reality or is this that alternate reality where shit happens?
I know.
We'll find out this weekend in football for sure, but that should be a good one. The one thing I want to mention from a fantasy perspective on the card side is the receiving core, right? You touched on Hopkins. We've had Rondale Moore have a big game. We've had Christian Kirk have a big game. We've had AJ Green have a big game. Hopkins had a big game, I think, early in the season. Yeah. But there's 4 guys there now that Kyler's kind of spread the ball to, and we've seen both running backs also have a big game individually. And so...
Yeah, you go to the anti-Ramsey guy.
Anti-Ramsey.
Oh, that's a good call.
Who's Ramsey going to stick Hopkins, or is he sticking on the same side?
This is the year that he's stayed in the slot the most.
Yeah.
So, Hopkins doesn't really like to do the slot very often.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Rondale Moore action for him then?
But I think he'll just stick on Hopkins. Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen.
I think this has to be kind of you kind of have to shadow Hopkins.
Yeah.
But like we've talked about, there's so many other weapons there that the other cornerbacks are going to have their word cut off.
There's not a good formula to beat the Rams, but if there is one, it's the attack the other side of Ramsey.
Yes, yeah.
That's
absolutely.
basically it.
I agree.
Because you can't run on them.
Mhm.
You can't throw it short on them. You just got to attack the non-Ramsey side.
What a threat to have. Like
Yeah.
one guy that's going to control the whole left side or
Shut
fi-
down
of the field.
corners are some of the most freaking valuable players
Yeah.
They are.
that you can have, man. You're shutting an entire side of the
Imagine
field
having
down.
2 of those.
Oh, my God.
The Seahawks.
AJ Bowie and Jalen Ramsey took them
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
the NFC
Jag.
AFC
Yeah.
Championship
Yeah.
game because of that scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sherman.
They just got Richard Sherman.
They
right?
did,
The Bucks
they
did.
did.
The
The
Bucks
Bucks
got
did,
Sherman.
yeah.
Damn, he should join the Lakers since they're getting all the old people.
Should be probably the best matchup on the board. There's a lot of great games, but your Steelers, Chauvette, they're traveling to the Packers. Steelers 1-2, Packers 2-1. Packers at home favored by 6.5. Over under sitting at 45.5. Injuries, I think, is the name of the game on the Steelers side, right?
Yeah. We got TJ Watt's coming back, so that should.
That's good.
Oh,
put
nice.
in
He's like full go.
I believe he's full go. He was
Nice.
full go in practice, so he should be able to put some pressure on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, had that miracle 37-second drive last week, so there is some chance that if we could cut it close and Big Ben could, be protected and throw it deep to Deontay Johnson.
2 things that he hasn't had done all year.
All year. Yeah, no, who am I kidding? I've got the Packers winning this game.
Yeah, so Big Ben's been sacked 8 times in 3 games this season. He was sacked 13 times total last year.
Damn.
So we're going to maybe get to that at the end of this game.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. And Steelers defense is, their secondary is trustworthy. So if they might be able to, stop Devontae Adams, maybe not completely remove him from the game, but I don't see anything going deep this game because Valdez-Scantling is also out.
Mhm.
So, the Packers going to have to figure something out here. Maybe it's a Lazard day.
Could be just a lot of Aaron Jones screens and stuff, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should
But-
be an interesting game, but it is in Lambeau, so
Yeah, that's always a good.
Yeah,
That's
and-
always a fun atmosphere.
And the Packers come out scoring all the time. And Steelers haven't scored in the first quarter in 9 straight games.
So yeah, the recipe's just been the Steelers are behind all the damn
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then that's when the line can't protect because the defense is unleashing with the blitzes and protection and everything. And yeah, I mean, you're right. If the Steelers can somehow go up 7-0, I feel like their entire game flow just
Completely
drastically
changes. Oh, yeah.
it seems like the only sure thing is Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Najee Harris,
He's the one constant in that
one
offense.
constant, and they're gonna try to find ways to get him the ball, whether it be dump offs.
That guy's going to get a whole season removed from his career after this year. 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 19 targets last week,
It's wild.
14
Yeah.
catches.
He's youthful. He can handle the load. I think they're just going to keep pressuring it on.
The running back lifespan in the NFL just continues to
Yeah.
get lower and lower. But yeah, I think that's got to be their recipe, right? Is Najee Harris, whatever receivers are healthy, give Ben just a ounce of time to try to get the ball out to these guys.
And I believe the Packers are another team that has allowed a lot of points to their tight ends. So
Oh,
it's
your
a
boy.
stretch. It's a stretch.
Freiermuth.
For Freiermuth.
You're starting them this week.
I am starting him this week.
You're starting
Hey,
this week.
Freiermuth, if you don't listen to this podcast, you should, just for Chauvette.
We
Dude,
talk about you more than any other podcast out there. I would guarantee that.
Tunyon has not been spoken about
Yeah.
as much as Freiermuth has this year.
Tunyon's so hit or miss, man. He gets so fired up when he plays well, and then you don't hear him the entire game because he doesn't
Yeah.
catch a
Yeah.
ball.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I'm hoping for something to come out of, and he's an option if Kittle doesn't play as well. So
Yep.
it's one of those things where I would like to start Freiermuth.
God, let's hope Kittle plays. I just traded for him. I need him to play.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, another great matchup. Steelers Packers, always kind of a classic matchup there. The Ravens are going to be traveling to the Broncos. Another great game on the board. 2-1 traveling to the surprise 3-0 early season Broncos. Ravens favored on the road -1. Over under sitting at 44.5. We talked about this a little bit when I talked about Lamar Jackson, but I'm not all in on the Broncos yet at 3-0. We obviously already talked about why. Weak schedule. Defense is good, but prove to me that you're great. Prove to me that you're an elite defense by stopping, Lamar Jackson, a guy that is trouble to stop. I mean, you can contain him, but you can't really stop him. So, what are the Broncos defense for real? And then on the Ravens side, can they get enough production from their receivers? Can their offense do enough to, take pressure off Lamar just having to run the ball every time?
So Lamar Jackson has 251 rush yards this season.
Mhm.
That's the most by any quarterback ever in the first 3 games.
Mhm.
So he's running for his life. That
Yeah.
offensive line is not protecting anything.
Mhm.
And when he can't have time to throw, the receivers drop it. So you can't play a game like that against, this Denver defense that's not allowing anything to anybody. So, and, the Ravens are also one of 3 teams with a negative point differential.
Yep.
Like, how are you going to beat a team that's undefeated with a stout defense and playing, football like you're supposed to be played? Run the ball, make some deep throws, run the ball, make some deep throws. Denver is playing just perfect football, right? I know they played a lot of shitty teams, but formula-wise, any coach would love to play their games like how Denver's playing so far. So Baltimore needs to be perfect. Their offensive line needs to do so much better, and the receivers need to start catching balls. And I think this will be a close game. If they don't do that, I don't see this being a close game.
I think so. I think either way it's going to be close, just because you just said the Broncos love to run the ball, right? So possession, control the clock. It's tough for me to see the Broncos go up like 2 scores unless they get like a rushing touchdown and a back-to-back, pick 6 or something. But you're right. I think the Broncos have such a good formula that the Ravens are going to have. We're going to have to see like a couple of Lamar Jackson type plays where he's broken down the defense and making things happen for that to be the next factor. Because like you said, yes, if they just try to stick to what they do, and Lamar Jackson tries to throw the ball when he needs to, and you have guys like Hollywood Brown that can't catch passes, the Broncos defense is too good for mistakes like that.
Yeah, and I mentioned that it's all about the Ravens defense, and I truly believe that, because I feel like the Ravens can find ways to score if given more chances. So it all comes down to, can the Ravens actually stop the Broncos? The Broncos haven't had a good matchup just quite yet. Like, this is going to be the first real threat, and it's funny because it's like all these teams that we talked about, like the Panthers and the Broncos, we're finally going to see what their defense is really about.
Yep.
And so it's going to be a tough matchup for, I think, both teams, but it all boils down to that defense.
Who's winning this game?
Oh man,
it's a tough one. -1. Ravens favored by 1, so it's essentially a coin toss.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things. Are we going to get to see if Denver's for real?
Yep.
Or are we going to see if Lamar Jackson can just make anything happen with a poor offensive line and poor receivers?
They barely won last week against the Detroit Lions.
But 3 touchdown drops from Brown.
This is true. Yeah.
Detroit's offense is no joke either.
Yeah.
They can move the ball. But yeah, I think I'm going to take Baltimore because I want to see them win this game. I'm a Lamar Jackson believer. He's unreal. We've never seen a player like him, and it's going to be a while before we see another one like him. So I like to root for the guy, and I want to see if he can actually beat this quote stout defense. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Lamar can do.
Should be just another great matchup. Defense against that rushing quarterback. Which one's gonna?
Yeah, usually the rushing quarterbacks don't win games like this,
especially against stout defenses. Yeah.
Right. I'm gonna take the under on this. I don't know what that leaves.
Over under is 44.5.
Oh, okay, never mind.
On paper, I could see an under.
Yeah.
I could certainly see an under.
If Baltimore plays fairly good defense, Teddy's not really like I'm gonna drop 50 points on you kind of guy either.
Right.
He's a conservative quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, I could see this being like a 17-13 game.
Yeah, I could very well see that as well.
For sure.
I could see the under there. So should be, again, another stout matchup there for another surprising undefeated team. So let's see if they can move to 4-0 and if that defense is for real. Sunday Night Football, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is probably just storyline-wise the marquee matchup of the week. The Tampa Bay Bucs, 2-1. Tom Brady is traveling to his old hometown. He's going to be at Foxborough facing the Pats. Pats come in 1-2. Bucs are favored by 7 on the road, and over-under is 49.5. The story here is obviously Tom Brady is coming back to face Bill Belichick and his old team, the Patriots. What can Bill Belichick do with his 20 years of Brady experience to make things difficult for Tom Brady?
Yeah, it's not just Tom Brady. It's all the options that the Bucs have. You got to stop Antonio Brown. You got to stop Mike Evans. You got to stop Godwin. You got to stop maybe Brate or
Howard.
One of those guys.
Gronk is hurt, right? He's out? Is Gronk doubtful?
No, he's not out. He's doubtful now.
Yeah. Okay.
So I
Mind games.
Right. I think, that's what you need to stop. If you can stop those guys, that's how you stop Tom Brady. Really. That's all it's about.
Just stop everybody.
Stop all of his weapons, and you can stop Brady.
How did they lose last week? Well, they just got cupped.
Hot take.
They just got Cooper cupped.
Yeah, it was
Rams.
one of those where they couldn't stop the Rams at all, and then they didn't score on every possession because the Rams' defense is good.
Right.
But it's a different situation. Pats have a pretty good defense on paper, and they've had some decent performances, but that offense is obviously nowhere near the Rams' offense. And so you're going against a rookie quarterback. It's literally, in Tom Brady's eyes, this is the guy you guys drafted to replace me because you said I was too old.
Right.
And so how in the hell are the Patriots going gonna stop that or beat Tom Brady. Like,
it's the
man on a mission.
It's the Mamba mentality of the coach versus Mamba mentality of Tom Brady. It's like which one's gonna
play?
Which one's gonna outmaneuver the other?
Belichick ain't on the field, dog.
Yeah, but Belichick tells the defense what to do and the offense. Tom Brady can only do what he wants to do. But yeah, I'm excited. I kind of want to see the Pats kind of make it kind of tough for Tom.
Sure.
I don't know how they're gonna do that because there's no. What's his name? Gilmore? He's still not back.
Still not back.
So, it's just like a recipe for disaster. But I just have there's something about the Patriots, as much as...
It's an aura.
It's an aura. I think the aura is kind of fading.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the rookie quarterback's getting better as the season goes, too. So, he doesn't have to do much. But this game, he's going to have to do much because you're not going to be able to keep up with Tom Brady if you're going to be dinking and dunking.
And we talked about it's going to be hard to run against Ndamukong Suh and that stout D-line.
Yeah.
And so Mac Jones is going to be forced to throw the ball, forced to try to keep up with the Bucs, right? So this is another one of those where if the Bucs go out early, like the sky's the limit for how much they can score and how much they can win by. The Patriots' success is to go up early, like win or score a touchdown first or be winning, and then they can try to run the ball and grind it out like they do. But
that sounds miserable.
It's so tough to see, a situation where somehow the Patriots come out and win this game.
It's going to be exciting to see what Belichick draws up in the defense.
Yeah.
Like, what sort of schemes are you going to call? Because you know Tom Brady more than anybody else.
You have to know his weaknesses. You had him for 20 seasons.
Yeah, he does.
It's almost like I wonder if like other teams are also going to be looking at what the Patriots do and like kind of following that. I mean, regardless of how the results turn up, but like based off of everything that you have of Tom Brady, this is what you're gonna put out there.
What's the line?
Bucs are favored by 7 on the road. So Bucs -7, over under 49.5.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I'm staying away. 7's a big number. There's too many weird implications here. The Bucs could run away with it. Belichick could somehow just out-guru Tom Brady. But regardless, a great matchup for Sunday night.
You know what? I don't think Gronk's going to be out, but I think that's a trap. I think he's just going to be out there because he's back home in Foxborough.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of owners are going to start him,
and
they're going to be really, really sad.
So I hope that means Mike Evans is a benefactor of the Gronk decoy.
Mike Evans is always a benefactor as long as he's on the field.
Yeah. That's another story. I don't know who the hell to start my receivers, but again, Pats would have to play a perfect game. I think Mac Jones would have to have like a coming out party for them to somehow win.
That would be incredible.
Mac Jones out-duels Tom Brady. It's like, dude, it's my time now, bitch.
I kind of want to see that. Let's make that happen.
That would be insane. But Bucs favored by 7 should be a good one on Sunday night. And that leads us to our last game of the week, folks. Monday Night Football. Again, ending with a bang. Man, so many goddamn good games. The 3-0 Raiders are traveling to the 2-1 LA Chargers. Chargers at home, favored 3.5 against 3-0 team, and over/under sitting at 52. Talk to me. What comes to mind here?
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's a Herbert versus Carr show, right? I mean, who's the actual real deal? And I think Herbert is the real deal, and compared to Carr, this is such a tough matchup. I don't know which way to side, honestly. I'm gonna side the Chargers, but it could go either way.
Yeah. I think from a fantasy standpoint, I think there's a lot to like. I think there's going to be a decent amount of points scored here. So it's just a matter of, is it going to be the old Eckler show? Is it going to be the Keenan Allen show? Is it going to be the Mike Williams show? From that on that side, and then on the other side, we talked about Derek Carr loves pretty much every receiver. He's spreading the ball more than any other quarterback, just about any other quarterback. So who's going to be the guy that has the X Factor game this week?
The guy that's going to have the X Factor game is going to be the guy that's not guarded by Darwin James. Yeah. Darwin James is a shutdown safety. He just takes people out of the game.
You never heard of no shutdown safeties?
Nope. But he's one of them, and he's just a huge guy. He can take out your tight end. He's fast enough to take out your quarterback or cornerbacks. Receivers. Sorry, I had a little weird moment there. But So if he decides to stay on Waller, Waller's not going to do very well.
Yeah.
But they have a lot of weapons. They have a lot of weapons. Hunter Renfrow actually has 5 receptions and over 50 reception yards in each game this season, which is the best he's ever done in his career.
So as consistent as they come.
Yeah, he's consistent, and Carr has said multiple times that he is the best player on the team. I don't know how to take that, but that means like he's not going to just say random shit though. Yeah. He sees stuff in practice that he does that other players don't do. Yep. So maybe that's why he gets 5 receptions minimum every game, because there's like that reliability factor. He just knows that when things are going wrong, he has Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also looking at the Josh Jacobs situation and maybe considering starting Peyton Barber if Josh Jacobs is not playing. It might be a stretch, but if you don't have, if you have to start Gainwell or Peyton Barber,
volume's the name of the game for running backs, and if you're getting 23 carries,
he's a must start.
Yeah, he's a must start.
Yeah.
I agree. I'm also monitoring that situation because I have Jacobs and
you have Peyton Barber.
No, I don't have Peyton Barber. I have the other shithead, Kenyon Drake.
God,
useless piece of garbage.
Is he the dud of the season so far?
So far, he's got to be the dud. I don't know what the expectations were on him coming into the season, but for them to not be that high and for him to still suck, like that's definitely dud worthy. But yeah, I think if you have Peyton Barber, and you don't have like two stud running backs or something, you're looking at starting him because, like you said, volume, 23 carries. They like him. Clearly, they've shown that even with Drake there, even with an injury, Drake's like the spell back or whatever, or lack thereof. So Barber's getting the load. And if Jacobs is out, Barber's getting the load.
Yeah, number 1 offense versus number 4 offense. Going to be a shootout.
Yeah, that's going to be a great freaking game. That is the last game on the matchup slate that we have. Monday Night Football, again, going out with a bang. We had Thursday Night Football start with a bang. Week 4 looks like it's going to be another kind of, highlight reel. So we'll be really excited to recap these games on our next episode. Let's end things off with our Survivor picks. Week 4. Survivor pick so far 3 weeks in the books. Shashot is 3-0. Shovit's 2-1. I'm also 3-0. This is week 4, so Shashot, give us your first Survivor pick of this week.
Okay, so I am gonna hop on this anti-Jets train that I've been hopping on.
Yep.
And I'm gonna take the Tennessee Titans to beat the Jets.
Yeah,
nice.
For reasons we've already all talked about.
Yeah, we've already. There's really nothing here. I'm not really worried about this AJ Brown or Julio situation. I think even besides those guys, they're still better than the Jets. They're just slightly less better than the Jets. But Tannehill has shown that he can move the ball around, whether it's AJ Brown there or not. So I think that's going to continue against this Jets defense.
Dude, I just want to say that you have so much riding on the Titans this week that if the Jets somehow play like an insane game, that's going to be shitty.
What else do I have?
Don't you have the Titans defense starting in like all your leagues? Yeah, and you're taking the Titans on the Survivor.
Hey, man, you got to be the ones, man.
Yeah, you got to ride that. And the Jets have given us no reason to believe that they're even like capable of barely even squeaking out.
So if the opportunity's there to play a team against a team like that,
100%. I'm with you. It's just it's all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah, it's okay. Adage. It's all good.
All I'm gonna say is I'm gonna piggyback off of you got to be the ones. And my strategy for pick'em for Survivor pick is not going with the herd. It's going against the herd because that's how you win. So I'm gonna pick the Jets this week. Yeah.
All right.
So you guys are playing against each other this week in the Survivor pick.
We're going to play a game of Madden after this, too. I'm going to use the Titans, and he's going to use the Jets. So Stay tuned.
You're taking the Jets at home against the Titans as your Survivor pick.
That's right.
So I think your strategy on Survivor picking is kind of messed up because you're not really supposed to go against the herd in this situation. You're supposed to pick the team that's going to win for sure. And I feel like there's other teams out there.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I am 2-1. You are
that's the strategy you should have said.
Right. So if you lose, you'll be we'll have the same what's it called? Record. Right. So
okay, let's see what Sweetcard's picking here.
Yeah. So I'm just scrolling through these games real quickly. I'm just right off the cuff real quick. I'll just take the Bills at home, easy one.
Okay.
Bills at home, 17-point favorites against
Damn,
the Texans.
so you're telling me Chauvin had the option to pick Bills against Texans, and he chose Jets against Tennessee?
So the other thing about this is, when am I ever going to pick the Jets? And I feel like this is the week that I can pick the Jets.
Wow. Man, you were really, really shitting on the the Titans.
I don't know who you think the Texans or the Titans are, but they're not as bad as you think they are.
Well, Derrick Henry's going to be running all over that defense.
These are facts.
It's okay. We're going to be watching the game together, so maybe we'll do a little live stream during that time.
That would be sick.
In the fourth quarter.
I'd be so down. If you guys want to see live streams during the game, let us know because we have no issues doing that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are the Survivor picks. So you have the Titans against the Jets. You have the Jets against the Titans. Yeah. And I'm taking the easy cop-out answer. I'm taking Buffalo at home against the
that's how you do it. That's how you do it.
Got to move to a sweet 4-0, man. That's the name of the game is stack those dubs. That is it for this week, guys. That is episode 7 in the books of the Only Playbook. Thank you so much for tuning in. Can't wait to watch these games on Sunday and then recap them on Tuesday with you guys. Like you said, stick around for all of our social media tomorrow. We're going to update you with all the injuries that we find out, everything that can help you build the best lineup and get your dubs on Sunday. Again, we're the Only Playbook. We'll see you next time.